Hi, welcome to yet another tutorial. So in this tutorial, I'll be making this beautiful peplum top. Stay tuned. Yeah, welcome to yet another tutorial. So in this tutorial, I'll be making the princess cut as shown in the first picture. So I'll be making use of 2 yards of this cadre fabric for the princess padded top with plain peplum, with full peplum. So let's get started. To start, I'm going to fold my fabric into two. We start from the back. So we are cutting from the back. To cut from the back, we are going to start like this. So for me to know what to fold, my half length is 15 plus I'm going to have 1 inch for the sewing allowance, for joining the peplum at the bottom and for joining the shoulder at the shoulder side. So that makes it 16. So I'm going to measure 16. I'll first straighten up my line here. First make a straight line here. So I'm going to start all my measurement from here. Then from here I'm going to measure 16 downward. So I'm having 16 here. Remember we got 16. I said my half length is 15 and I added 1 inch for joining the peplum to the bottom and joining the shoulder together. So for me to know the breadth I'm going to fold, that's for the length. My bust measurement is 36. 36 divided by 4, that gives me 9 plus 2 inches for sewing allowance, that makes it 11. So I'm going to be folding 11 inches. So we are good to go. Now we can start inputting our measurements. So my shoulder is 13 divided by 2, that makes it 6.5. so this 6.5, I'm going to add half inch for joining the sleeve to the shoulder, that makes it 7 inches. So I mentioned 7 inches here. Then my neck width, because it's going to have a collar, is going to be 2.5. So I'll mark my neck width 2.5. Then I'll come down at this shoulder by 1 inch. Then from that 1 inch, I'll make a slope by a slant to the shoulder, to the neck width. Yeah. So then my neck depth is going to be 1 inch. Don't forget that I said that it's because it's going to have a collar, so that's why I'm making it this small. Then I'll make a curve like this, if you can see. Then I'll come to my shoulder slope. Then I'll take my armhole measurement. My armhole measurement is 8. I usually use 8 for 36 to 40 inches bust. Then after taking that, I'll come down to here and take my bust measurement. Remember I said my bust is 36 and 36 divided by 4, that's 9 inches. So this is 9 inches. Then I'm going to add 2 inches for the sewing allowance, 2 inches. So I'm going to form a slope, a curve, the armhole curve here. See, if your hand is not straight, you can decide to use fresh curve to make this armhole curve, but I just do it without. Now I'll go to the waist. My waist is 32. 32 divided by 4 is 8 inches. So I'll mark my 8 inches. Then I'm going to add that of 1 inch. That makes it 9 inch. Then I'll add 2 inches for sewing allowance. That make it 11 inches. So I'll connect this to this. And we are good to go. We are done with the back. Okay, now I've cut out the fabric we'll be using for the front. And how do I go about this? You will notice that in our back measurements, we do not add zipper allowance to the back. That's because our front is going to carry the zip. So I'm going to measure out the zip allowance first. After my fabric is unfold, then I will mark out the zip allowance, which is 1.5. So I'll draw a straight line. It's from that straight line that all my measurements is going to be starting from. So now, how do I cut out this fabric? My waist measurement is 32. I divide 32 by 8 by 4. I have 8 inches. Then I added 5 inches. 5 inches, one for joining the fabric together because I'm going to cut it into 2 pieces. Then 2 inches for sewing allowance. Then 2 inches for that allowance I'm going to be cutting out. So that's 5 inches. So when I added the 5 inches to 8, I have 13 inches. So I measure this 13 inches. Then I added the 1.5 inch for the zipper allowance to it. That was how I was able to cut out this fabric. Now I'll go to my shoulder. Remember, we use 7 inches for the shoulder, 6.5 for the shoulder, then half inch for joining the sleeve. And I'll come here, our neck width is 2.5. So I'll come back to this point, then I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Then I'll make a slant to join the neck width here. I'll come down, my armhole is 8 inches. Remember, my armhole is 8 inches. Then I'll draw a straight line. Now I'll come to the middle of the armhole. At the middle of the armhole, the middle of the armhole is 4. So I'll come in by half inch. This to prevent bulging at the armhole side. So I'll use it to connect it together to form my armhole depth like this. If your hand is not straight, you can use a fresh cuff. So this is my hand. Then I'll come here. I'll measure my that line. To get to that line, just measure your nipple to nipple. Whatever you have divided by 2, that's your that line. So my that line is 7. Nipple to nipple is 7 divided by 2. That gives me 3.5. But I'm adding half inch because remember I said I'm going to be adding half inch for joining it together, so making 4. So this is 4. I'll mention 4 all through for my that allowance. Okay, now this is my that allowance. From here I'm going to measure my bust point. My bust point is 10 inches. And my under bust measurement is 13 inches. So I'm going to draw out this line to be very visible for us to see. Under bust, and here is my waist length. So from here now I'll go ahead and put my dart measurement. My dart measurement, I'm going to use 1.5 outside, then half inch in here. I'll also come to my under bust. I'll do the same thing, 1.5 inch out, half inch in. So altogether I'm having 2 inch that I'm going to be cutting out. Then on my bust point I'm going to go up by half inch and come down by half inch. Hope you're getting me. So I'll connect the lines together from the waist to my under bust. I've connected the line together. Then at this point I'll draw a curve line. then here too I'll draw a cuff line to meet my bust point. So this is what I'm having. You can see the cuff line. Then I'll come to this, my armhole depth, my armhole, the half inch of my armhole. I'm going to connect it to the bust point, the upper part. So you can see, connect from here to here. Then because I'm cutting out 2 inches here, I also cut out the 2 inches from the armhole. So I'll measure 2 inches here from this half length, from the middle of the armhole. That's I'm going to measure 2 inches. So this is 2 inch, and I'm going to return the 2 inch back here. And form a new armhole curve with that. See, I form a new, this was our whole armhole curve, but now this is our new armhole curve. Then I will use my, I'm supposed to use a fresh curve to make this line. So now I've joined the line. Then I will use my hand and make that curve. You can see. So I have my curve. It shouldn't be straight. It should be curved like this. Okay. So sorry that the shock is white and it's not very obvious on it. Now I'll take my bust. We are done with the dart. I'll take my bust measurements. Remember, I said my bust is 36 divided by 2. That's 9. This is 9 plus half that I'm going to use to join these two together, because I'm going to go in. That's 1 inch plus 2 sewing allowance. That's 3 inches. So I'll add 3 inches to the bust. Then for the waist, my waist is 8 inches plus 5 inches. 8 inches. That's 32 inches divided by 4. That's 8. I mark out my 8. This is our dart that we are cutting out here. I will return it back here. So I return it back here. Then the half inch I'm going to use to join the two together. I will return it also here. So we are good to go. Now I'll add my sewing allowance, which is 2 inches. Then I can connect the two lines together. Okay, now I'll come for my neckline. My neckline is going to be 3 inches. My neck width is 2.5 and my neck depth is 3 inches. So I will make a curve like this. Then we are done. Now I can cut out. Okay, here is the little calculation for the peplum. Oh, you can see. Wow, it's not very. I'll bring it up to the camera. My waist is 32. Then I had 2 inches for the zipper allowance, because that 1.5 that I added for both sides, I'm going to use half for turning, so it's going to remain 1 inch. So 1 inch on both sides, that's 2 inches. That's the 2 inches I'm adding as the zipper allowance. That makes it 34. So 34 now divided by 6.28. If you're having a full peplum, you divide your circumference by 6.28, because that's our radius, that's the standard. So 34 divided by 6.28, I have 5.14. My blouse length is 23. 23 minus 15 because we've cut out half length. Our half length is 15, so 23 minus 15 we have 8. So my peplum length is going to be 8 inches to complete my full blouse length. Now for me to know what to fold, I'm going to add the waist circumference, that's the radius, that's 5.41 plus the 8 inch, which is the peplum length, that's 13.41. I'm not going to be adding 13.41 directly. I'm going to be folding 14.41 because I'm going to use half to join it to the lining, then half to join it to the half length up. So I'm going to be using 14.41. So I'm going to be folding 14.41 for my width. Okay, so this is my fabric. I'm going to measure. I'm going to do the first folding like this. Where I'm folding should be, I'm going to have 14.41 for my square. It's going to be a square. So it's up to 14.41. So I have to have it. Okay. Now I folded into two. I'll first fold into two like this, 14.41. Then I will now fold it again into 4. Make sure that you straighten them out. Then I'll go back again and fold again. And confirm if it's up to 14.41. So now I'm having it into 4. So this is 14.41. Then let me check here. I also have 14.41 here. So what I'm going to do right now is to cut out my circumference. From here, from this part, I'll just be marking 14.41. This 14.41 is almost 4.5. So that I'm using 14.4 quarter. So I'll mark 14.41 here. Why my tape is at the tip here, I'll go around like this with my tape, mark round like the way you use a compass, round like that. So I have I've already marked it. Then let me shock it out for it to be visible. So I have my hack. Then at this point, remember that our waist is 5.41. So I'm going to mark out 5.41 here, like this, 5.41. So I'll connect the dotted line. Now these are radius, while these are peplum line. So I can cut out now. So these are peplum. You can see that there's no cut and it's giving me a full flay. So when you want to get a full flay, just divide your waist by 6.28 and you fold that the way I folded. When you're folding, there should be any opening at your folding. So we are done with our peplum. Now we move on to the sleeve. Now for you to cut out the sleeve, the normal pencil sleeve, I folded my fabric into 2. You first consider your round sleeve. My round sleeve is 12. 12 divided by 2, that gives me 6 plus 2 inches so in allowance, that makes it 8. So whatever I'm folding, I must have 8 inches. I must have more than 8 inches here. So here I have 10 of fold. So I will come depending on the length. I want my sleeve length to be 12, so I will make it 14 because I'll be folding it, I'll be hemming it. 14 for the folding allowance, or let me say hemming allowance. So I'll just draw a line this way. I'm coming now. I will come here and measure my biceps. Your biceps is your bust divided by 6. So my bust divided by 6, 36 divided by 6, that's 6 inches. Then so I'll come here, take 2 inches, come down by 4 inches. That's my bicep is 6, so this is 6. I'm going to, so from this line I'm going to form a curve coming here. See, I'll draw a line like this. So for this is going to be for the back neck. Then for the front, I'm going to minus half inch. Remember, we are cutting out half inch from the front. So this for the front, this for the back. Then I'll come down to my hem part. I'm going to use normal 8 inch that I measure. Then I'll connect it with this and then cut out. I'll cut out the lining and attach the peplum stay on it. Then come and show us step by step on the sewing part. Okay, now I've done cutting the lining to each of the fabric. So let's start with the peplum. Now the peplum here, I've attached paper stay to it. You can see stay. You can attach peplum stay if you can avoid the luxury, or I just use normal hard stay, and not the real hard one, the medium one. So I cut out the lining for the peplum also, and I make sure that the lining is just like half an inch away from the main fabric. See, I cut it to make sure it's half an inch from the main fabric like this. So I took half an inch away so that when I'm turning it up, the lining will not be showing. Now I'm going to sew the lining to the fabric round like this. So I'm going to pin it down. Just notch it round, flip it over and iron. Then we'll come back. I'll set this aside. So here's the back. The back too, I'm going to open it this way. Then place my lining on it like this. This lining on it, and sew this side. I'm going to sew. So I will sew here, I will sew here. After sewing, I'm not going to touch the neck at all. After sewing, I'll flip it over, iron it, then put my dart line on it also. And then let's go on to the front part. I've cut out lining for the front part also. Look at the way I fix my interfacing. I make sure that it didn't get to this place, to my zip allowance. Remember the parts we notched earlier, so that's where I stop. Now I'm going to be like this. Then I'll take my fabric like this way. So I'll flip this over like this. Then from here I'm going to sew. This way. Then I'm going to sew from here. You see, I'm going to sew from here around like this to this point. Then after sewing, I will notch it open. Then give it a good press, iron it out. So after sewing, it's going to give me something like this. So I'll do the same thing for this also. And the lining too, I'm going to sew the lining that same way. I'll place the lining like this way, then I'll also sew it down round like that. So I'm going to do everything, all the sew. Okay. So now I've attached I've sewn this part and I've ironed it out. I have to open it and then iron it out. So when you place it down like this, it looks like this. So this is the bust coming out. So here's the second part also. Then the lining, I cut out the lining. I'm going to sew like this, just sew from here to here, and same thing for this side too, from here to here. Whatever you do for the right, you do for the left. This the back, the side also. So I'm going to sew this side, then I'll also sew here downward. Then after that, that's the back. I've sewn it and iron it. So I use my dart allowance. Now I said my dart allowance is 8 inches. So here is 8 inches. So I use 8 inches to fold it. Now I'm going to sew my dart from here. I'm going to measure from the shoulder point 7 inches downward. So from this 7 inches downward, I'll mark ½ inch in for my dart. This is my ½ inch, so I'll make a slant for my dart line. Then here also I'll measure 7 inches. This is my 7 inches. Then I will measure my ½ inch inward and then make a slant. So I'm going to sew from here downward. That's my dart. And my sleeve, I'm not attaching lining to it. I'll just hem it this way, 1 inch. And remember we added 2 inches, so I'll just hem like this and sew for both sides. Then here is my peplum. I've sewed the lining. This is a ½ inch I cut out from the lining, so that it's when your clothes is flying up, don't be seeing the lining, or the lining will not be coming out of the clothes. So just to push it forward. Now I've sewn my peplum also, so I'll go I sew those parts, come back and show us the next step. Now I've sewn the lining and I've ironed it. I've sewed the dart, I've ironed it out. So there's the back, and for the front I've attached the lining to it. Look at it sitting here. So what I'll do here is I will try and trim off the excess that I'm having here. So same thing for these two. And for the peplum, I cut it out, not just close like this. So I just cut it open, then use the lining to turn it, and I've ironed it because it's going to be seated like this. And the sleeve also, I've hemmed the bottom of the sleeve. You see, I have to go and restitch this. My Machine was giving me hiccup. I was having hiccup, so it was giving me rough stitch. I have to change the short too before it starts working properly again. Now, going on to the next step, I'm going to pick the back and the front together. Okay, so here's the back. I'll place the front facing it like this, and then I'll pick it up this way, arrange it to make sure that they are all equal. Now, okay, then I'll pick the lining for the back. There's the lining for the back. I'll take it and flip it over like this to the front. Then I'll hold it. So you have to keep on arranging as I'm pinning down, so that I've pinned it down. I will sew this way. I'll do the same thing for this side also, then come back to show us our next step. Alright guys, I'll attach the lining to it. That's it here, and look at it here. So, and this is how it looks from the inside. See, from the inside. So the next step now is to attach our sleeve. So to attach the sleeve, remember we cut out the front, so you place it this way for it to know the front. So this part that is short is the front side, so going to come here. So this is the front side, to face the front side here. Then remember we notched the center, so I'm going to pick my pin from the center this way. So guys, I'm done attaching the sleeve around. Then after attaching the sleeve, I have to weave it around to have a good section. So now I'm going to use pin to hold down the zipper allowance at the front, so that when I'm taking my measurements right now, I won't pass the line. So I'll use this my wording as a guide. Remember we have a notch here and up here too. So I'm going to pin that part down, these two notches here. I've done that. I'm going to pick up the dress, place it on each shoulder, right side facing right side like this. Then I'm going to start from the sleeve. Remember I said my round sleeve is 12 inches. My sleeve is 12 inches. I'm going to measure 6 inches from here. Let me just pin it down first before shocking it. So let me just hold them together. Okay, now I'm going to take my round sleeve measurement, which is 12 divided by 2, that's 6. So I'll mark 6 here. Then I'll come to my bust. My bust is 36 divided by 2, that's 18. So what am I having here? I'm having 20.5. So 20.5 minus 18, this is our 18. I have 2.5. So my sewing allowance is going to be 1.25. So I will mark this. Then I'll also mark the same here, 1.25. Yeah. Then I'll come to the waist. My waist is 32 divided by 2, that's 18. Sorry, 30 divided by 2, that's 16. So what am I having here? I will look at it. 16, 1, 2, 3. So I will take 1.5 here. And I'll also take 1.5 here. Then I'll connect them together. So from here, like so. Yeah, this part too. I love this thing. I'll take my 6. Now I'll connect from here like this. So we are good to go. Now I'll go ahead and sew here and sew there, then come back to show us the next step. Alright guys, I've sewn from here down. Then I'll remove the pins. Although I was removing the pin as I was sewing, so that I won't forget them. Now the pin I used to hold it at the front, I'm going to remove it right now. I like remeasuring my clothes after sewing it, so that at the end of the day I'm not going to have shortage. So my waist is supposed to be 32 plus 2 inches sewing allowance, zipper allowance, that's 34. So I'll try and confirm. So I'm having 34.5, which is still okay for me. I'll just make sure that I enter the remaining half in the zipper allowance. Then now let's go to my bust. The bust is 39. My bust is 36 plus the sewing zipper allowance, that makes it 38. So what I should be having here now is 38. So I'm also having 39 inches. That means I'm going to use 1.5 for my zipper allowance here. So while holding, I won't use, look at, I'll be having 1.5 for my zipper allowance to make sure that it comes back to the normal position. Then from here I'll go ahead and attach my peplum. Now here is my peplum. I'm going to attach it this way from the hand here. Let me just pin them down. Shows the next step. Guys, we're almost done with our blouse. So I've attached the line, the peplum, and I've weaved the edge, so you can see it's already looking so beautiful. Beautiful, it's a name. Okay, now our next step is to go ahead and fix our zipper. So I'll be fixing my zipper using the 1.5 inch allowance that I left. So I'll fix zip here. It's going to be an open and close zip. Then I'll come back to show us how to fix the collar. Then we'll be done by then. Alright guys, I've attached the zipper to the dress like this using 1.5 inch, and so I'll just bring down the zip and fix this way. So you can see the zipper is longer than the dress, than the top, I mean. So I'm going to cut off this side. Then while cutting off, I'll make sure that I do not, okay, I want to leave her first sitting. You can see give it. So yes, okay. So I'm going to cut off this SX zipper. I'm not supposed to cut it completely so that some will enter the collar. Now it's time to fix the collar. So here we have to pay attention. I'm going to measure around the neckline like this. From this zipper here, I will take it around the neckline like this. So I'm having 17.25. I say 17.25. Then I'll set that aside. So I have my paper stay. I'm using soft paper gum or gum paper. I don't know what they call it. I know that's gum. That paper gum or gum. So I'm using the soft one. I'm going to fold this into two. Then remember we have 17.25. I will measure half of 70.25 is excuse me, that's 8.75. so I'll first draw a straight line so that to be my guide. Straight line is going to be my guide. Don't want to waste the fabric, the paper. I still use it for another color. So from here now I'm going to measure 8.75. This is my 8.75 here. Then I'm going to measure 4 inches upward. This is 4 inches upward. So 4 inch. I want my collar to be 4 inches. To be 4 inches high. So I'll draw another straight line. Then after drawing a straight line, whatever I have here, I will input it up. So I have 8.75. I'll measure 8.75 here. This is my 8.75. Then I'll add 1 more inch to it. So this 8.75, I'll add 1 more inch. So I'll slope it down, slant it here. Then I'll come to the center of the collar. I'll come down by ½ inch. Then from this ½ inch, I'm going to draw a curve. I'm not going to make it straight. It's going to be a curve like this. So good. This our collar completed. So I'll cut it out now. Now here is our collar. I'll open it into two. Then I'll get my fabric and iron it from fabric into two, like this. Okay, and you see, then I'll place my collar on it, ensuring that I can get half inch all around it for sewing. So I'll go ahead and iron it to the collar, to the fabric. So before then, let me just cut out. So I went ahead to attach this to it, and I folded the end to it also. Next step for me to do now is to go and sew. I'm going to sew along this line, sew round, then come out here, and after sewing I will turn it and iron it, then come back to show us next step. Okay, now I'm done with the collar. So I've sewn it round, then I've turn it over, and this is what we have. I'm going to get the center of the collar. This is the center. And I'm going to get the center of my neckline too. So here's the center. Then I'm going to start from the inside. I'm going to pick this like this, center facing center. So I'm going to start my sewing from the inside, and then I'll pin it. I'm going to sew round like this to this place. Then after sewing to this place, I will flip it over. Then I will turn it inside like this. Then I will top stitch on it round. Then voila, we are done. I'll come back to show us the finished look of our top. Okay, finally we are done with our top. So I'm just going to use an iron to fold the collar this way. Just fold it whatever way you want it. You can make it come this way or anyway. So our top is ready. Liking, sharing, and subscribing to this video. If you know that you're not a subscriber, please try and subscribe so that you can get notification from us when our new videos are out. And do not forget to like, comment. If you have any question, I'll be in the comment section to answer all your questions. See you in my next video. Bye.